For the amount of times that I have been in front of my desk and talking to the camera, a lot of people have been asking me recently regarding one thing that has been continuously growing over the years that they have noticed that's starting to surround myself, quite literally, in fact. And what I am talking about, of course, is actually regarding my Blu-ray and DVD collection, because you could see it become bigger and bigger if you do notice the little details when I would show myself in front of the camera. In fact, you may probably notice it right now where I got it right behind me, where I have this entire row here. And I even have another collection that is on top of my computer, just right over here, actually. And ever since I did those videos based on Blu-rays and DVDs, like, that's when the question really started to blow up from my fans. They really want to have an in-depth look of my collection. They want to know what kind of Blu-rays and DVDs that I do own. And I have considered it over the years, but it wasn't until recently I decided, hey, you know what? Why not just go ahead and actually make an entire video just dedicated to my collection? If this is something that you guys want, then, why the fridge not try this out? And by the way, before I go and get things started to show you my collection, I would just like to say that this is as of August of 2020. And the reason I have to point out the date is because just in the way that Walt Disney viewed Disneyland, a Blu-ray and DVD collection is something that is never complete. As long as there are solid pieces of entertainment out there that have been enjoyable for me personally, or stuff that I feel like I want to add to my collection, then this whole collection will just never be complete. And you never know if in the future that this will either be slightly different or just massively different from before. But anyways, with that said, let's go ahead and start by looking at my collection over here. So I'm going to start things off with what is on top of my desk, and I'll begin over here with the animated films from Walt Disney Animation Studios. And as you could tell, I don't have enough room anymore to fit all of them at once, because I do have the more recent films that are just overflowing, so the best I could do is just put them over here. And also, you may notice that I actually put them in chronological order. So starting at the bottom, I begin over here with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then it just continues on where we get to more recent stuff all the way up to Frozen 2. And you may also notice as well that the grand majority of them are actually Blu-rays, with a few exceptions that are just DVDs, mainly because there are some like Fun and Fancy Free or The Black Cauldron, they don't have Blu-rays. And then there's also the other one back here, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I actually only have it on Blu-ray because for the longest time I actually refused to get the Blu-ray version, because that one also comes with the sequel, The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. But then again, I guess I could reconsider and just get the Blu-ray anyways, because then again, I do have plenty of other Disney sequels as well that are packaged with the original film. Like I do have, as you can see, I also got Mulan 2, I got Kronk's New Groove, I got Milo's Return, and a few others as well. So I guess that could be in consideration for later. And also, I just want to add as well that you may notice that I don't have all of the Disney animated films. I'm not going as far as be like a full-on completionist in terms of getting literally all the features. Keep in mind, this is my personal Blu-ray and DVD collection, so that pretty much means that I wanted to get the ones that I either consider to be an essential to get as a movie collector, or the ones that I personally enjoy myself. So, of course, my personal taste does affect what I own in terms of my collection. So, you're not going to see me own something like Chicken Little in my collection anytime soon. So, that is just an example that you could see here of the Disney animated films I got. Oh, and also you may notice that like the front row is in the bottom, but then I also have a second row on the back here. And the way that I did that, it's not the way that the desk itself is actually built. I actually had to go and improvise a bit, and here, I'll just take these out of the way. And you may notice in the back, there is actually a piece of cardboard that is used as like an additional shelf to give the backside an additional boost. So I kind of had to improvise my way in order to create an extra shelf for the Blu-rays in the back and to make more room to fit DVDs and Blu-rays. So that's pretty much the Disney collection over here. And then we move on to this section, which from top to bottom this time, these are all the Studio Ghibli films. Now, technically the only one that I don't have among this is I do have Only Yesterday. What the fridge am I talking about? It's Ocean Waves that I don't have, but I believe that one is a series, and I guess that's another one I'll get sometime later in order to get the full collection. But every single one should be here, from Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, and then going all the way down to When Marnie Was There. And also, you may notice on the side as well, I do have a little bit of different figurines, like a bunch of Figments. I got the Cheshire Cat up there, and then I also got Jiminy Cricket. And you might be wondering as well, why is there a noticeable difference between like these gold ones and then you got like the black ones that have a circle on the side? Well, that's mainly because of who were the distributors of these Blu-rays, actually, because there was a moment back in the early 2010s, and I think also in the late 2000s as well, that Disney was the distributor for the DVDs. Well, I mean, like they've been doing it for like for a while. Like I think ever since Princess Mononoke, actually. But in terms of like the DVDs and Blu-rays, they went all the way up to 2014 or 2015 until eventually G Kids was the one that became the new distributor. So the gold ones are from Disney, as you could tell with the Disney logo. Oops, okay, I think I poked that a little bit too hard. And then like these ones are G Kids. But don't worry, for those of you who want to know, like if you want to make your little collection yourself, don't worry about any differences between the Disney or G Kids ones, because they're practically the same. So regardless if you get the older Disney ones or the newer G Kids ones, there is no difference. With one exception, however, and I'm just gonna say right now that if there is one version that is superior than the other, I gotta say Ponyo. For some reason, the G Kids version of Ponyo is way better than the Disney one, because it actually does offer a lot more bonus features on top of the little bonuses as well that G Kids would offer, like giving out a little manual within the Blu-ray and the DVDs where they would describe like the movie and stuff like that. And the only sacrifice that they have made is one little featurette with John Lasseter, which I don't know about you, but I feel like that is more of a benefit than a sacrifice when it comes to these kinds of bonus features. So I think that's a plus. So that's my one recommendation, is that even though they're all pretty much the same, regardless if it's Disney or G Kids, but Ponyo, get the G Kids one. It is way better. So, with that said, I think we're pretty much good with this section. And now let's go into the right over here, and you'll notice on the front row, these are my Pixar films. And this one does not have any DVDs, so these are all my Pixar films that I do own. Of course, it's not all of them. Like you may notice, I don't have any of the Cars movies, but the rest, I definitely love them. And like I said in my top 10 Disney Blu-rays, like when it's a Pixar film, you know that they go up and beyond with the quality of their Blu-rays, not only with the quality of the movie itself, but also jam-packed with bonus features to the point that they would also put in a second disc. And this is the case with the grand majority of them, from like Toy Story all the way up to Toy Story 4 as well. So whenever Pixar brings out a Blu-ray, I know that you are in for a great time. But then you would have what's on top of Pixar, or what's behind Pixar, and these are all my DreamWorks films. And by the way, this is another case where it's starting to overflow a bit. I don't have room for How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, so these are all my DreamWorks films, and as you can see, this is actually a pretty solid mix of DVDs and Blu-rays. But there is also something that I do want to point out, is that even though some of them, like especially the earlier ones, are in DVD boxes, they actually do have a Blu-ray inside of them. That's mainly because this is more of a personal thing. I refuse to get the Blu-ray versions, or at least keep the Blu-ray covers of some of these DreamWorks films, mainly because they do that stupid bull crap, you know what I'm talking about, of like the simple colored background, the giant face of one of the characters, and just the title, and that's it. So that's why, here's an example. Like, if I go and get something like The Road to El Dorado, for example, so as you can see, this is the DVD cover, but then I would go and open it. Hold on a sec, there we go. You'll see that I actually modified it where it's actually both. Like, I got the DVD and I do have the Blu-ray of it. So it's a nice little thing that I decided to do a modification because, like, look at this cover. This is actually beautiful. I love this. However, I would like to point out, though, that these are not the only DVDs and Blu-rays that I have that is on top of my desk. These are the ones that you could find visibly. There is also one other area that I do have with DVDs and Blu-rays, and it is actually hidden. And the reason is because I call this specific little area the Bad Movie Dungeon. And, well, I mean, it's not really much of a dungeon because I also got some other stuff here, and I guess, like, the most that makes it an evil dungeon is because I have this haunted mansion decor, I guess. But yeah, this is the little area that I have that I hold what is often considered to be some of the worst movies ever made. And you'll see the little section here. These are all animated films. These are the ones that you may recall that in my reviews, I give them either 3 out of 10 or less, so I got stuff like Norm of the North, Food Fight, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, Ice Age Collision Course, The Wildlife, and stuff like that, and also a few of them that I have yet to touch upon, but I know that they are bad, like Fly Me to the Moon 3D or Elf Bowling. The only exception, though, is Postman Pat the movie. I don't know, I think years ago I have heard this movie is bad, and that's why I put it here, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so I don't know if this thing belongs in here or not, but I guess it's more of a just in case. I don't know, I never touched upon it since. And then you would see on top also, these are like the live action ones that are often considered the worst of the worst. So you got stuff that I have seen in AniMat's watches, like the Banana Splits movie. I got Cats, of course. Then I also have 9 Lives. And of course, like some of the essential, like infamously known stuff like Cool Cat Saves the Kids, or Show Dogs, or Trolls 2, and Norbit, and a few others as well. And then of course, like on the side, you may notice that I also have some of the Video Brinquedo stuff. Like I got the little Panda Fighter and Rat-a-Toing, and another one is called Gladiformers. I don't know what the fridge that's about, but I guess that's Video Brinquedo's version of Transformers, I guess. They also want to go after that one as well. But then there's also this weird one that I have here, and this was something that was sent to me from What's in the Box. I did not purposely bought this, by the way. It was, I guess a fan wanted to do like some kind of troll gift and decided to send me a hentai, which is apparently called Sailor and the Seven Balls, Return of the Balls 2. But yeah, I have not touched upon it since, and even to this day, I still find it kind of creepy that even though it's a joke, that someone still would send me this. And speaking of What's in the Box, by the way, I would say that the grand majority of this, I did not actually go and purchase myself. In fact, I would even go as far and say that there are only a handful of these that I actually did legitimately go and buy. I think the only ones are the Banana Splits movie, the Cats Blu-ray, Trolls 2, I went and bought myself. Food Fight, I know that I bought for the top 10 worst films, or not top 10 worst films, but the top 10 worst DVD covers. And then, anything else from this that I purchased? No, I think that's pretty much it, actually. And by the way, on a side note, I don't know why, but honestly, Food Fight is stupidly expensive. Like, this DVD, no joke, goes for like $20 online, so I guess that really shows you the power of the internet, and whenever they would be reviewing something that can often be considered very popular, then of course it would rank up the price as well. So yeah, this is just like my little corner of bad movies that normally on casual occasions I would just never go and touch upon them. If I would be in a mood to just watch a movie, well, I certainly won't be looking into this. So and by the way, you may have noticed that there are a few instances when I would actually use this little collection as kind of like a representation of bad animated films. Like, I recently did it for the top 10 rides based on animated films. So often they could be pretty good as props as well, so I figured I might as well show you this. But then again, keep in mind, this is just a joke collection. This is not something that I would be committed to fully going complete, so I'm not going to be spending a lot of money just to go and get crap like Arctic Dogs or the Emoji Movie just to fill this collection up. So thought I would just show you a little thing that I do have. And then you got this section over here, which is on the other side of my desk. And this is the miscellaneous animated films. These are the ones that don't necessarily fit on top. They're not Disney, they're not Pixar, they're not DreamWorks, they're not Studio Ghibli. They pretty much fit in the rest. So this is where you would find all the other stuff, like the independent films. You would find like the Illumination films, the Blue Sky films, the Sony films, the Leica films, Don Bluth Works, and Warner Brothers, and all that kind of stuff. They all are in here. So this is my collection, and it does often get wider and wider often. But if there are any, then I would just put it here because I know I have like a whole bunch of animated films. And I don't put them in any special order. These are just alphabetical, as you can see. So it does go all the way down to the side where right at the end it goes to Yellow Submarine. It should be pretty soon that if I do get more, it will definitely fill up the whole area. And by the way, if you want, as a little bonus, you can also check out what's on top of these DVDs and Blu-rays. So this is a production cell of Ratigan on top of an autograph from John Musker and Ron Clements. And I would say in terms of animation memorabilia, this is like my most prized possession. And then next to here, you also got Nicodemus from The Secret of Nim, and this is another production cell that was used in the movie. And of course, you got my babe here, Princess Daphne, which is actually signed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. But this is not a production cell. This is actually a special limited edition cell in which they gave out as a reward for their Dragon's Lair movie campaign. We don't know what has happened since with that project, but hey, at least like I am satisfied that I did get something good out of this. And by the way, before I continue, I would like to make an important statement before anybody would go and write their comments that just because I don't necessarily own a specific movie in my collection, that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like the movie. Now, I know that I said before that when it comes to my collection, that a lot of it is based on my personal taste if I do enjoy these movies or not. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if I don't have this movie, then that means I hate it. And if I do have it, that doesn't necessarily mean that I love it. I just need to go and make that statement immediately because I know that there are going to be plenty of people that are going to overanalyze my collection and they're going to write down conspiracies in their comments like, AniMat doesn't have that movie. Does that mean he hates it? If he reviews it, does he give it the AniMat's seal of garbage? And stuff like that. So I just wanted to go and prevent those comments from happening and put up that big disclaimer. Also, I want to give out a pro tip to any Blu-ray and DVD collectors out there regarding slipcovers or sleeves or however you want to call it. Because I know that there are people on both sides that either collect with the sleeves or without the sleeves. And as you could tell from my collection, I actually collect them with the sleeves. Now, for those of you who don't collect the sleeves, I just want to say right now, do not throw them out, because it really is a case of one man's trash is another one's treasure. And there are those collectors out there that are so much of a completionist that they are willing to go and actually buy some of those sleeves because they could legitimately be valuable. If you don't believe me, I actually have a great example with this Blu-ray copy of Treasure Planet. Now, the Blu-ray itself is not really that expensive. In fact, you can easily go in Walmart and you could find it in the bargain bin for like $8 or something. But this slipcover, they're no longer available. They actually have become a collector's item, and no joke, they can actually go on eBay, and I've seen them go for like $50 or even $60, and sometimes that is without the DVD. It could be just the slipcover itself. So that's just a big tip to not throw them out and actually keep them on the side so that you can actually sell them, because again, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And for those of you who do collect them with the sleeves, there is a website that can actually help you out if you're really that much of a completionist and you're willing to spend money on the sleeves to really polish your collection. Go to blu-raysforeveryone.com. I'll leave a link in the description, and that is an entire website. They sell all different kinds of DVDs and Blu-rays, of course, of movies, or just cases alone so that you can upgrade it and switch things out so that they could hold 2, 3, or 4 discs at the same time. But most importantly, they also sell slipcovers, and even if they don't have the one you want available, you can actually write them an email, and you could tell them which one that you're looking for, and they'll actually go and scout them out for you, where one day they could write you an email and say that they do have it, or you could check on their website to see if they have it available. So that's one website that I highly recommend you go and check out if you're really that much of a completionist, because I know it certainly helped me out a lot in terms of completing my collection to look as complete as it actually does. So now that I covered the DVDs and Blu-rays that I got over here, it is now time that we're gonna move to literally an entire cabinet filled with DVDs and Blu-rays, or at least mostly DVDs and Blu-rays, and we're gonna look at them one by one, or at least one row after the other. So the first thing that we are going to look at is going to be my live action movie collection. And this is actually something that I do whenever someone first sees my DVD and Blu-ray collection. Of course, they're going to start things off by looking at what I got here on my desk with all the animated films that I have. And almost instinctively, I would tell them, like, immediately, my live action films are over here. So just to point out that I don't just collect cartoons and stuff. But yeah, like, as you can see, of course, it's, well, it's not like a whole lot of movies. It's just one row, but it's mainly the ones that I highly do enjoy. And also, the ones that I do find are also kind of like essentials to own, and all that kind of stuff. But it is kind of like a mix that you can see here of just DVDs and Blu-rays. And by the way, yes, even though I am not a Funko Pop collector, I do have Funko Pops. Like, the grand majority that I own are Mickey Mouses, by the way. And also, on top of the ones that you do see over here, there's also a little section here that is literally just Muppets, or at least the works of Jim Henson. And I pretty much have, if not all, but the grand majority of them. So, of course, the Muppet ones are all Blu-rays, so going from the Muppet movie all the way down to Muppets Most Wanted. And then, of course, we also got Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal, and this little DVD that has a mix of the other Jim Henson works, like you got Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, and also mirror mask. So that is something that I unfortunately could not fit in all this, but eventually I would like to go and make a little section dedicated to DVDs and Blu-rays of just the works of Jim Henson, and most of them being the Muppets. Now, if we go one row down, you will find that these are all the series that I own on DVD and Blu-ray. And you're going to notice on this one that I actually have most of them on DVDs instead of Blu-rays. And by the way, speaking of Jim Henson, I also got another little row here of just Jim Henson stuff. And you will see that it's relatively small, but it's just Fraggle Rock, Dinosaurs, and Muppets. And these are the ones that are either entire seasons or they are entire series bundled up together. And I do have a little bit of a mix. A lot, like, this isn't necessarily just animated stuff. You will find that a lot of there are some that are live action, like I got Cosmos here. Technically, I do have It in here. I mean, technically, it's not really a series, but I mean, it's a television thing, so it counts in there. And is that it, honestly? Well, okay, so I do have the Weird Al show as well. Oh, and on a side note, of course, you may notice that on top, I actually do have my Tsum Tsum collection. That was something that I loved collecting recently, which was Tsum Tsums. And it is very unfortunate that Disney decided to discontinue them because they were very fun to collect. I actually do enjoy them. And of course, like, you got the main ones that are in the bottom. There's just too much to fill in this area, so the main ones got the privilege to be over here. And if I do want to go and expand my Tsum Tsum collection, if there is one that I would love to go and get, I really want to have the one of Dreamfinder and Figment, but as far as I could tell, they are stupidly expensive on eBay because they have pretty much become a rare collector's item. Oh, and I do have one more Tsum Tsum to show. Actually, it's technically two, but I do have Cabby here because it's technically a combo with Roger Rabbit and Jessica, but instead, since Roger and Jessica are here, I put in Big Al from Country Bear Jamboree because Big Al is awesome. And also, on a side note, you may notice, just like with the way I organize Disney animated films and the Pixar and the DreamWorks stuff, they're all in chronological order of their release dates from their movies, by the way. Okay, so now that we got all these done, it is time to go and move on, going down a bit to a continuation of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I got of TV shows, or in this case, just DVDs, and these ones are entirely dedicated to just Simpsons and Family Guy. And the reason why I have so many of these is because during my teen years, there was a period where I was just obsessed with The Simpsons and Family Guy, where I would watch them religiously. Like every Sunday, whenever they're on Fox, I would have to go and check out the latest episodes of The Simpsons or Family Guy, or whenever I would catch them on TV, I would have to immediately put them on. But then, of course, I did eventually stop. And this is why I don't technically have all of them. Like, as you can see with The Simpsons, I got from season 1 all the way up to season 14, and then you also got season 20 when that was released. And then you also got Family Guy. I only have just 7 volumes, I believe. No, 9 volumes, actually. So I do have a bunch of Family Guys, along with, of course, the one DVD they released of The Cleveland Show, because I did actually watch that, believe it or not. So there was that, and I mean, like, during their earlier days, when they get good, they get amazing. So that's why they really do have value and they are worth keeping. So that's why I do have such a giant collection in this area. And then there is a special little section that is actually right over here. And what you see here actually is a bunch of special editions of movies, and there are some of them that are kind of like the essentials that I do own, like some of the most important movies you gotta have in anyone's collection, you know, stuff like The Wizard of Oz, you got Willy Wonka, you got Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, and you also have Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But at the same time, this is a collection for a compilation of movies, so of course this is another one that you can count as an essential. Like, I got the Godfather collection, where you got Godfather 1, 2, and the one that shall not be named. You got a whole collection of different Mel Brooks movies. You got this one, which is hold on, I don't know what this is. I know that someone sent it to me. It's Rurouni Kenshin. So I got the trilogy of that, and then of course I got the Cornetto trilogy. But on top of that as well, if I move over Monty Python, I also do have the entire collection of Quentin Tarantino, or at least the entire collection of when this thing was released, going from Reservoir Dogs all the way up to Django Unchained. So I do have that, and this is all on Blu-ray, by the way. So this is also another major collection that I do own, because sometimes it's fun when you get the special edition stuff, because they don't just come with the movie itself, but also a lot of little bonuses, like this Monty Python and the Holy Grail. On top, you got like a bunch of little animals, and you actually got a little launcher, so you can actually flick some of the animals, like the pigs, the ducks, the sheep, and then la vache, where pretty much now it's your turn to go fetch a la vache. Alright, so I got this side done, and I'll go and move one step lower, and you'll see here, this is a little bit of a variety here, where on one side, also, again, in my teen years, I used to collect DVDs of a bunch of comedians doing stand-up, and you'll notice that I do have a few favorites. Like, I got Russell Peters, I got Robin Williams, of course, I got John Panette, Gabriel, well, just one of Gabriel Iglesias's, and I also have Chris Rock. And right in the middle, by the way, this is actually one of the Disney treasures of Disneyland. And then you got on the other side, these are the documentaries that I own. Most of them are DVDs, and you got one Blu-ray with The Neverending Man of Hayao Miyazaki. But these are also ones that I do love watching, especially Waking Sleeping Beauty, that I used a lot. But then, actually, give me a sec, because you may notice that on the other side, there are a lot more DVDs and Blu-rays right behind. So give me a second, I'll just move this out of the way. And this is what's behind those DVDs. And as you could tell, this is like a little compilation of DVDs and Blu-rays of everything else, basically. If it's not a TV show, if it's not a movie, then basically what we have here is kind of like a mix of just TV specials, compilations of episodes that are not technically an entire season. You got animated shorts, you got cartoons, and you got so much more. So this is just the little extra pile that just goes in here. And I know that they would make plenty of them, so I just decided to go and just put them all in just one little spot. And one more thing, like, I do have another Walt Disney Treasures, by the way. It's actually right over here, and this one is the Oswald one, I believe. And well, the reason why I just want to point it out specifically, yeah, there you go, this is the Oswald one. And the reason why I want to point it out is that like, I'm in no rush of this, but technically I know in the future I would wish to get a lot of these Walt Disney Treasures, because so far in physical format, those are the only ones that you can get that feature cartoons of like Mickey, Goofy, Donald, and many, many more. That would be like an eventual goal that I would like to do, but I know it is going to be like a hefty investment, because nowadays they are pretty much a rare collector's item, but it is something that that is in my potential wish list. And technically, yes, they would actually go over here, because I also got like all the Looney Tunes ones, and I got some other cartoons as well. Like I got the recent Tex Avery one over here, so it would be a nice addition that I would like to have. And And I do have one more little area to show you, and it's right at the bottom, so bottom in fact that it nearly touches the floor, and that is my anime section. Yes, I actually do have a little collection here of animes, as you can see here, or technically Japanese animated programming, both movies and TV shows. And I start off over here. This is my little collection of just anime series, and I do have some of the essential ones, of course, like Cowboy Bebop, Death Note, and Full Metal Alchemist. I know it's a small batch, but these are the ones that I do have, and believe it or not, every single one of the anime series was actually sent to me through What's in the Box, so I didn't pay for any of these. I just coincidentally got them, and it's a good thing that I do have like some of the most important ones as well, so that's a bonus. And then on the side, well, most of them I got on my own, and these are the Japanese animated features that are technically not Studio Ghibli. Like, if they're not from Hayao Miyazaki or anyone like that, then they all go here. And there are some mixes, like I do have some of the, ones based on TV shows, like I got Pokemon, and on the side, like right at the edge, I got Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. But then the rest, I do have some of the acclaimed stuff that, like a lot of them, of course, they're from G-Kids that I do have. But yeah, I do have a little bit of a Japanese section here, and I mean, this is not just for the DVDs and Blu-rays. Even right behind, I do have some mangas as well. Like I got Nausicaa, I got Death Note right behind here, I got Azumanga Daioh, and then I also got like this giant book of Osamu Tezuka. It's ridiculous. Like, this thing is bigger than some of my dictionaries that I have. I don't know, it's just like, I'm not used to seeing a book that is like this big and has so many pages. But there is one more collection that I could show you as a little bonus. I have my little music collection here. These are a bunch of CDs that I do own. And in terms of music, like, I'm like not necessarily really into physical copies, like to get a whole collection. This is more like a coincidence that I do have a bunch of these throughout my lifetime, so these are the ones that I do own. The only ones that I would really get out of my way to go and get are either the soundtracks for Disney films, like whether it be like the Legacy Collection, if there are some really good ones that I want to own, or if there's like Weird Al. In fact, like, if there's a Weird Al soundtrack that's released, like, I am for sure getting it. In fact, that's why I also got this big thing. This is not a real accordion. This is actually a whole collection. This is like nearly the whole discography of Weird Al Yankovic, or at least as of like 2017 or 2018. This is like the entirety of Weird Al's discography. In fact, they call it the Squeeze Box, the complete works of Weird Al. Like, I remember when I first saw that that was reported online, I knew I had to go in and get it. It was a hefty investment, but I'm glad that I got this as a true Weird Al fan. And that's pretty much my entire collection of Blu-rays and DVDs, and as you could tell, I got a pretty massive collection as it is already, but as a collector myself, as someone who does admire the art of physical media, especially with DVDs and Blu-rays, I am honestly very proud of this collection that I have over here. Rather it be dedicated to just animated movies like I have around my desk, or a bunch of miscellaneous stuff like live action films, TV shows, specials, shorts, or even anime and stuff like that. So if you guys would like to know more, or if you would like to ask me regarding my collection, feel free to ask, no problem. Also, if you guys are interested in more videos like these, then let me know. I would be more than happy to show you my collection, or maybe I can make a little series out of it where maybe like once a year or something I can show how my collection has grown throughout the years, or if there's a new arrangement that I have thought up with all this. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!